Good evening on a Mommy Milkers Monday. Oh, man. Tracks of the Dead. I was about to say Tracks of the Dead. Damn it. Tracks of the Damned on a Monday night, back where it belongs. We are kicking off your week this week, and what a week it's going to be, let me tell you. Not only just for Morgrad Entertainment Network, but also on the weekend. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But tonight's episode, what do we got for him there, Hoofbeast?
Oh, boy. We have not all of them because we would be here all night because July is fucking awesome. But we have some of the best metal albums ever released over the last 54 years of metal. We have a bunch of them that were released in the month of July. And there are some flippin' doozies. Really, really good ones.
Man, I think that, maybe some of the most iconic bands over that 54-year span decided to release in July because it's like almost the hottest month ever, especially right now. So from hell, we have all these amazing releases. But before we get into that, we're going to take a quick commercial break to our brothers over at Poison Valley Clothing. Check that shit out. Allahu Akbar! Oh, yeah. Sorry, I never get tired of that track. But definitely, if you are looking for some awesome t-shirt designs, horror-inspired, metal-inspired, check him out over there at Poison Valley Clothing on Facebook. So, as we said before, Monday is very traditional, especially one of Hoofbeast's favorite days of the week because of these. Got it! See, he's smiling.
and Babylon has come in. Babylon's here. Kyler's here. Yabelka was the first one in there. The Bongster, the one and only Mouse Bong is here.
Cody, what's up there?
Right, Cody.
The gang is in the house, and of course, Babylon comes in with a vengeance here. Suckle the teat. Oh, man, what an epic month for releases. Unholy shit at that. We have some fan-fucking-tastic stuff going on. I'm sure Rebecca's in there somewhere as well. Yabelka, good to see you. Mousebong, always a pleasure. Don't forget, as we are going through our list, and I mean, it's actually a hell of a lot more lengthy than what we can actually give you in one evening. But don't be afraid to tell us some that maybe we have forgotten as well. So Let's see. Where do I want to start? Oh, I know. So you might know them. They're what I like to call the unholy Fab Four from Birmingham, England. I mean, they need absolutely no introduction. They are the reason for all metal to this fucking day. Black Sabbath in July 21st of 1971 releases, in my opinion, their most iconic album, Master of Reality. It was the blueprint of doom fucking metal. And at the same time, I would also like to say there's a few tracks in there that are very stonerific as well. So you had the best of both worlds on this record. And in a lot of ways, their heaviest record.
Mm-hmm. For me, those first three albums are so fucking hard to choose from, but Master of Reality is the most consistent out of them. And boy, does Tony Iommi pull out the classical guitar and play a fucking masterpiece. Gorgeous. Something gorgeous in the middle of all of the down-tuned chaos, which is Master of Reality.
Oh, hell yes, he does. That little tribute to Russian folk music was just killer. And then slides you right into Children of the Grave. It's like as soon as you hear the you hear Geezer's bass just plucking away. It's like, oh man, we're about to get destroyed on this one. I mean, from the beginning to the end, especially. I mean, come on, man, Into the Void. The heaviest, grooviest, buzzalicious. Everything about that song is badassery to all the complex changes, the rhythmic changes. Woo, man, it's just that down, ticka, ticka, down, ticka, ticka, wow, down. I mean, just the vibrato on Tony's guitar. Just, Bill beating it like, without sounding funny, but beating it like no other. That's for sure. Everybody's performance on that record was impeccable. Mm-hmm. What? I sadly haven't had time to do. Oh, I was going to say, you better know this record, Kyler. He said, I sadly hadn't had time to do my list. It's not blasphemy. It's okay. We'll give you a pass. We'll give you a pass this time. Hey, there she is. Rebecca's here. That I was listening through Cody's feed, but y'all started the moment I stepped out of the shower. Oh, hell now. Sorry. You got to dry off, that's a good thing. Yep, absolutely. Osmond says, kicking it off with some Sabbath. How can you not? Because I really kind of feel the rest of the records that we're going to be talking about, this album has influenced probably every band that we're going to mention.
Oh yeah. And almost all metalheads, musicians agree on this album. From the front is the most consistent and best. It's Absolutely. A hard choice though for me on those first three.
It really is. It is. Paranoid. I'm not trying to take up too much time, but I mean, Paranoid was so dynamic and diverse. It was so jazzy and fuzzy. I mean, it was heavy, though, at the same time, but it just didn't have the darkness that I feel Master of Reality had. And, of course, their first effort, the debut record, I mean, there are some heavy tracks on there, but there are some blueserific, jazzerific tunes on that first record. The very first metal album, in my opinion, is Master of Reality. So,
first metal song ever produced was fucking Black Sabbath.
For sure.
That
you said, consistently as an album, though.
That defined fucking darkness in music unlike any other band ever fucking did. But damn, what a flipping good album.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, my first one is we're going to go to the 1st of July, 1987. And this is one of the first grindcore bands also out of Birmingham, England. And this is a band that when I saw somebody wearing this shirt, when I saw Carcass and Death and Pestilence, I was like, oh my gosh, I've heard of them. And I just felt like those guys, and their hair, of course, was like down to their ass. I thought, oh my gosh, these guys are like the cutting edge of the heaviest of heavy metal. And so the band that I'm talking about is they have one of the world records for short songs, and I'm talking about Napalm Death, Scum. What a cool album cover too. Political in nature, all of the political overtones. Fucking love it. And a lot of grind bands do take on this attitude. The things they're saying about corporations and hunger and rich white guys and stuff like that. I fucking love this fucking artwork too.
They were literally anti anything that sucked, and unapologetic about it. Heavy as fuck for the times. I mean, just very synonymous within all metal. You can't mention heavy bands without mentioning Napalm Death. I agree with that.
And Mousebong is right. You Suffer is in the Guinness World Book of Records as the shortest song ever written.
Isn't that crazy? So what did it actually tap out to? I forget.
I think it's like 1.7 seconds, maybe. It's like super short. I read it today. I think it's 1.7 seconds.
Oh, that's amazing. Got the Misfits beat, that's for sure. And their songs were pretty short, in my opinion. Oh, man. Excellent choice.
Their Mousebong delivers 3 seconds.
3. Wow. I don't know. How do you get to that point? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To make it exactly 3 seconds. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think, there's With the Silence. Yeah, it gets there. Yeah.
That's amazing. Cody says, I swear to unholy fuck myself and this internet company are going to fight. I feel that, man. You know, we had a twinge in our internet earlier, too, for no fucking reason. So I unplugged that shit and plugged it right back in, man. Trust me. I feel it. Something weird going on in the air. Not to quote Phil Collins. All right.
I remember learning about Napalm Death and then getting to see some interviews with them, even way back when. And these guys really prided themselves on being the fastest. And then that speed with Mick Harris on drums, and then that mixed with oh my gosh, what was his name? Lee Dorian's vocals. I think on this album it was Lee Dorian was the vocalist. And he wasn't the greatest growler. Like, he still had a long way to go. And with Cathedral, he really didn't have to do it all that much. I really like Barney Greenway. His vocals are really, really freaking good. I just don't like the direction of the band now. They've got a bit too much of this kind of punk influence for my taste, knowing who Napalm Death was. And it doesn't seem like they're really trying to be the cutting edge and kind of pushing and experimenting anymore. They've kind of been the same animal for about the last 20 years.
You know, sometimes when you have member changes like that, shit gets kind of lost in translation, especially whoever's leading the writing. So that is kind of sad. You know, it's epic bands like that we always want to see trying to reinvent the wheel even more so. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, I definitely agree with Mousebong on this. They've always had punk values and soul, though, that fine line with grindcore bands. I think there always has been a little bit of that flavor in the music, but I don't know. Napalm Death just, if you grew up with them, the kind of the way that we did, it just wasn't that evident that they were very punk infused. So that's all right, though. Hopefully, they'll come back with a stronger effort in the future. But excellent choice. Oh, this is so fucking tough, man. I don't even know who I want to go with next. Yes, I do. So, I mean, I might as well, address the lazy titty in the room.
Kyler's ready. And Mousebong loves this album too.
Oh, well, when we talk about those first iconic 4 albums of Danzig, even though the 4th one really doesn't totally stand up to the first 3, I still mention it because that was the last of the, iconic lineup. But this particular record was so much darker in every sense of the imagination. It was passion personified. It was demonic as fuck. It was really kind of testing, people's limits of what they know and what they aspire to be. A very occult-laden record, which is, kind of funny to say because it's fucking Danzig, But this one definitely was more along those lines. I mean, we're talking about Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill. This record was so heavy. I mean, when we think about Danzig 2, super fucking bluesy. Don't get me wrong, there was still that blues influence on How the Gods Kill, but the third record is probably their heaviest effort in every way. The drumming of Chuck Biscuits had just raised like 50 more levels of badassery. The sound of Eerie Vaughn's bass was so awesome out in the front, and you could really hear what he was doing on this record. I love John Christ's tone. This is the album that he truly chugged a lug when we talk about Chugalicious riffing. Very groovy at the same time. I love the overall production of the album. Now, this was the first album that we hear a slightly different Glenn Danzig due to the fact that he did kind of fuck his vocal cords up while on tour for Danzig 2. So it was the birth of the I can't gurgle like he does. It's just this sudden thing that his vocal cords just start going while he's howling, but it was still fucking effective. I don't care if people, said he sounds like, the Incredible Hulk is doing some fellatio. I still feel that his vocal performance was fucking fantastic, and there was a fucking amazing, dark, dissonant ballad on the record that really earned him the title of the evil Elvis, and that is Sustinas. That song, I mean, it was definitely Elvis inspired, but it was not happy. It was very, very, very dark, and I mean, women couldn't get enough of it. So I had to pick that one.
Yep. anything, like I would also say it's their heaviest and their darkest, but also anything is a beautiful, buttery, luscious fucking song. And Mousebong actually has a comment about that. And also how the gods kill. Like Danzig's vocals on that one are fucking beautiful. So outstanding. Fucking luscious. Yeah, it is sexy. He had women for days. Probably not now with that nipple. He'd have Kyler there.
I mean, the man is well into his 60s and still pulling, gorgeous women at his age. I mean, obviously he's got money too, but still, his voice, it's like the moment it came out on this record, the panties dropped. It was automatic. That's just the way it was. Anything was like the ultimate, dark love song of, give me that ass and I'll give you anything you want. I mean, it's still one of my all-time fucking favorite songs off that record. And then just how the gods kill that fucking riff. Ta-da! Oh man, just so good. Wow, wow, wow. Great video.
I just listened to that album a lot. I think it was Friday and Saturday, especially that album. So damn good.
Geiger's art on that cover. Yes. Fucking amazeballs. Kyler says, now I want to point something out. This album art is made by one of my favorite, if not my favorite artist, H.R. Geiger, the man who helped made the Alien, Xenomorph, and the Jonathan Davis mic stand. Oh, I actually didn't know that. Hell yeah, that's badass.
And if you like H.R. Geiger, then also look at Triptychon and Celtic Frost. There we go. There you go, Kyler. Kyler, calm
down. It's always there at my command. All right, moving on. What you got for us, man?
Oh, we're going to go a little bit south of heaven for the next one. One of my favorite albums. It would have been my favorite Slayer album. However, it has a couple songs that are just a little meh for me. But Slayer's South of Heaven came out on July 4th, 1988. This fucking album cover was really pushing the limits, as well as Rain and Blood did. With a logo, with a pentagram made of swords, and these little devil guy in the skull's nose, upside down crosses. It's fucking dark. It's filthy. It's dirty. And this fucking album, South of Heaven's probably my favorite song off of it. Mandatory Suicide is another really, really, really good one. But what I love about this album that they had never done before is once Rick Rubin got a hold of them, just like he did with our previous band, Danzig, he fucking brought the groove out of them. And with South of Heaven, that fucking groove in that song and Dave Lombardo's fucking kit beating is fucking amazing. This album is something else. Like, I will always love it. I never get tired of this album.
Poor guy. That is absolutely what I think about this record. It showed maturity. Overall production value was even better than it has ever been. And letting Dave really kind of show, dynamicism in his drumming. Instead of thrashing or speed metaling all the way through the chorus of South of Heaven, you are getting a nice groove that just kind of like goes through that, punching it home. Lyrically, I thought it was very good. Just about every track on the record. It really kind of showed us where they were going to be going by the time they got to Seasons of the Abyss. They got away from the constant, straight through slaughtering everything. I mean, we still have a lot of the same fast, I don't know what you would call it back then, but like the 30-second note picking. I mean, that was still there, but it wasn't as prominent as it was before in previous albums. So that's why I kind of feel like it was a bit more mature.
I agree. I think that's a really good point. And this is what I've wanted them to go back to all of these years, is for part of it, slow it down and hit those super fucking dark single notes. And they never, ever really did it the same. That was my biggest disappointment with Divine Intervention after Seasons in the Abyss. I just, like, they were back to this kind of just be fast kind of mode, and I just didn't dig that. Like, I was talking to somebody earlier today about, like, there's other bands around 98 to 2000s where they were like the new wave of death metal, and they were just fast the whole way. And that just bores the hell out of me. I'm talking about At the Gates.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a band that I never could really get into. And I even gave them second and third chances. Like, it's a little better now. But I remember everybody was fucking talking about them way back. And I gave him a listen. I was just like, it's like the same tempo all the way through, and like I just don't care.
Well, and I mean, let's take Cannibal Corpse for instance. I mean, even they figured out after a while, you gotta let us breathe a little bit. Probably more importantly, let yourselves breathe. Shit. But we really didn't see anything close to this record until you get to God Hates Us All. That was at the point where there was a lot more groovy parts going on in there instead of just the one tempo super fast. I think with Divine Interventions, to be perfectly honest, Paul Bostaph had to prove himself. So I'm sure they were like, well, he can do what Dave does, so let's show everybody that he can do exactly what Dave does, so they'll stick with us. And then that fucking abomination Diabolique in Musica was probably their worst record ever created. But I totally know what you mean. Because, I mean, Seasons of the Abyss was just perfect. But they never really went back to that. So, all right. Excellent fucking choice, man. So we're in the 80s. And in a way, I kind of picked this next one because I know it's kind of like a near and dear to my childhood as well as Hoof Beast. But if I can find it here. Yep. July 27th of 1984. One of the biggest anthemic bands next to Twisted Sister. Actually, their reign lasted longer than Twisted Sister's reign did because, they fucked up right after Stay Hungry. But there was another band at the time that was the king of the Sign of the Time, if you know who I'm talking about. Quiet Fucking Riot puts out Condition Critical in 84. And I love how back in the day, because if you didn't hear it on the radio, you didn't know what, like, the popular song that's featured on it, they would always throw a sticker, just like you see on the record right there. It says, featuring Mama, We're All Crazy Now, which, man, that was so fucking anthemic. We used to play that shit just to piss our parents off. Seriously. And they couldn't stand it. Why are they calling me crazy? I'm not crazy, Mom. You're not crazy. Yes, you are. It's because I mean they really were like the purveyors of bang your head, bang it every time you hear our music, and they would literally tell you that in their lyrics. So that's why I chose to put this one on there. Plus, I mean, everybody was fucking killing it, man. Everybody in the band, Sarzo, Cavazzo, Kevin Dubrow, and of course the drummer. Just a great record, a fun record. I mean, it's what you would hear at parties, on Friday and Saturday nights. It was a great party band, and they were a bit dark at the same time.
and that album also had a song called "Party All Night," and they're just playing in somebody's living room. So yeah, this is an album that when they premiered the video for "Ma Mama We're All Crazy Now" on MTV, I fucking was there to watch that premiere. And then on the day it came out, I had counted down the days. I went and rode my bicycle about 5 miles to pick up that cassette. Couldn't.
Damn, that's dedication. Fantastic, yes. That was kind of the really exciting thing too, now that you brought that up. Whenever you knew a new video from one of our favorite bands was going to be, debuting for the first time, you always got excited. You always made sure your fucking homework was done so that you could catch it when it comes on. I used to love that feeling. Damn, you don't even get that anymore.
Yeah, well, the counterpoint to this is another album that I couldn't wait for was Motley Crue's After Shout at the Devil, the Theater of Pain. So I couldn't wait for that. And then I never knew that they were covering Smoking in the Boys Room. I didn't know that somebody else had done that album. So I was still really excited. And so I made sure that I caught that premiere for that video. And I got that album on the day it came out. What a disappointment. Smoking in the Boys Room. What a cheesy, dumb fucking loser song. It wasn't funny. It wasn't fun. It wasn't metal. It paved the way for their fucking sellout.
Oh, absolutely. Everything was a fucking sellout after that. Which is so funny because now they're trying to be heavy, real heavy these days, and there's nothing fucking heavy about them. They just need to stop. It's like Kiss. It's a boil you can't get rid of. It's on your ass.
Oh, Mousebong has a comment about this album.
Oh, yeah. I put it up a little bit earlier. She said, my mom gifted me this on cassette when I asked for Metal Xmas stuff in the mid-90s. She was a little behind, but I loved it all the same because it's timeless. Those albums from the 80s, I'm telling you, no matter how bad the production compared to today's producing abilities, this shit was fun. It just really was. They were a little bit, I don't know, on the lighter side, but they sure as fuck could kick every other hair band's ass with what they were putting out, in my opinion.
Yep, good choice. That's one I was considering putting on here. Really good album. I didn't like the production because on this album, seriously, I didn't like the production as much as I did on Metal Health. Metal Health had way more bite, and it was Carlos Cavazzo's guitars that were just kind of like they took the game down probably 3 or 4 notches from Metal Health. And I didn't like that so much, but everything else, there's good songs, really good songs on that album. They're fun too.
Mm-hmm. A little overproduced, I would say.
Yeah. And that was so typical, trying to make them, I guess, bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we got hair metal right after that. and that was mostly probably Motley Crue is the ones that led the way, wearing a pink and like Vince Neil wore a pink and like lavender kind of patent leather or silicone pants or whatever he was wearing.
Oh yeah, with the animal print, tiger print. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What's metal about tiger print? Get the fuck out of here. Cody says, "Oh, sorry I'm quiet tonight, everyone. My 2-year-old is in the terrible twos bedtime tantrum phase mixed with wrapping up art for the con. This no worries, brother. Don't worry about it. Just sit back, enjoy. You get a chance to breathe and the tantrum dissipates, feel free to say something. Speaking of which, don't forget, coming up this weekend, it's time. 5 days from now, Reaper and Cody the Defiler will be at Nashville HorrorCon Saturday and Sunday. We'll talk more about that later, though.
Right on. All right, I think the next one I'm going to do is it's a band. It's one of Reaper's top 3 drummers of all time. He knows I'm laughing. He knows exactly who I'm talking about because he knows I'm bullshitting.
Right.
This is an album I said, I think like a week ago or so, that one of my friends in the Rangers went and put Fade to Black on and blew a 3-round burst right through his head. The brains were everywhere, all over the wall, chips everywhere from his skull. It was awful. And he had said, I said hello to him as he walked by in the hallway, and I might have been one of the last persons people he'd ever spoken to. But anyways, this is one of the first songs that I learned from front to back, and yep, we're talking about Metallica's Ride the Lightning. Call of Cthulhu will leave your nuts frostbitten, but yet dangling and dancing. Beautiful.
The opening track, man, Trapped Under Ice. You actually felt like you were under there with them. Such a good
fight fire with fire. So like they're doing the fight fire with fire, and then the really fast tremolo picking. So fucking good. But this is an album. Hopefully everybody watching has checked this album out. We don't have to spend too much time talking about it because we already know, but I couldn't leave this out. This is where Metallica brought in melodicism, and they had all kinds of bite, unlike everybody else. And by the way, in 1983 and 84, Metallica was kind of like wow, who is this band? And it wasn't necessarily for Kill 'Em All. It was Ride the Lightning that gave them a lot more notoriety. And you started seeing them, like I used to get Circus Magazine all the time. And I mostly got that so I could see Merciful Fate was in there quite a bit. Quiet Riot would be in there, and Motley Crue was in there. And so that's the stuff I kind of grew up with until I got into punk. I agree, Mouse Bong. The first 4 Metallica records, that's all. Fucking amazing.
You know, and it's just like Danzig. The first 4 records is all you need as well. It's kind of like a trend, you know. It's unfortunate that a lot of bands, you know, very big mainstay bands that were so innovative at one of the greatest decades in our history, that their first 4 releases were so on point. But, you know, after that, I agree with you right there, Babylon. He says, after those first 4 albums, I jumped ship to Megadeth. Everybody did. You know, it's almost like Dave Mustaine fucking predicted that they were going to do this shit. You know what I mean? Cody says, Ride the Lightning is my favorite album from them. Abso-fucking-lutely. Creeping Death. Who the fuck hasn't gotten down to Creeping Death 1,000,001 times? It's because Cliff was like, dude, this is what we need to do. And it was a fantastic record. We miss you, Cliff, every day.
I wonder if what Reaper and the audience if they would agree with me. For Metallica's first 4 albums, to me, every fucking one is 5 out of 5 stars. To me, the first songs that I learned all the way through, I learned front to back the entire album of Kill 'Em All. Love that fucking album. It's so different than the others, but they were like taking Motorhead and just biting a little bit harder and not so dirty.
Right.
So good.
From a guitar standpoint, I can see why a lot of people will put And Justice for All in there, because guitar riffery on that record is fucking amazing. As a drummer, I could start to see that there was something going on there with Lars. He was shedding his roots in those first 3 records in And Justice for All. Like, his attempt at getting fancy made no fucking sense most of the time. You know, adding in tom hits where they don't belong, too many smash, 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 smash in a row didn't make any sense because it didn't accent the fucking guitars. So for me, I would have to say the first 3 records, 5 out of 5. For And Justice for All, I give it a 4. It was the last of the greatness at that point. That's just me.
Like for me, like when we did our countdown, it was so hard. I don't know if I put that one as my favorite, because when fucking Blackened comes out and what they're doing with the guitars and just the shortest straw, that fucking song is so fucking good.
Like I said,
good. Fucking bites. Yeah. It's a 5 out of 5 for me.
And that was the last time I feel that James's voice was still James.
Yeah.
At that point. You know what I mean? Because by the time we got to the fucking Black Album right after that, some douchebag, Bob the cock, Gobbles the cock, by the way, told him he can actually sing. And then all of a sudden, all that grit, all that aggression, all that angst, poof, went away. Yeah. with a little song called Nothing Else Matters. What a piece of shit that was. Come on. I could go on for days about that, but we're not gonna. All right. But Babylon says he also agrees with you as well. So, hell yeah. All right. Next on my list. Where the fuck do I go? There's so many good ones. Let's see. We were still in the 80s. And I think, yeah, on my list, we're starting to get into the 90s now. Let's see here. We have talked about this band so many fucking times because they are the epitome of badassery. Shit. Hopefully I got the slide, though. I don't think I have the slide. Let me double check there. No, I think that's it there. They... one of the heaviest doom bands, and as Hoofbeast has always called them, very much death doom band. They in July 14th, 1992, Paradise Lost puts out a little album called Shades of God. And honestly, I really feel that, I mean, this was just them, not so much at their best, but they were really moving forward. So many great songs on this record. And because of our love for this band, so doomy, so dark, crunchy as fuck, I had to put it on my list.
Oh, I don't have good things to say about this album though. Yeah, like toward the end it gets a little heavy, but I thought this one was a sellout. Like I was really upset. But I listened to like the first 3 or 4 songs and it did not sound like Gothic, or I forgot the one that was right before that. Like those were so fucking heavy and raw. This one, like they really kind of produced it a lot and really changed their sound. But oh boy, when I came back to these guys, I think 2015 or 2016, with I think it's The Plague Within, that fucking album is so good.
Oh, fantastic.
Like I was talking with somebody about this about this album today, and they were pointing out that yeah, toward the end it gets pretty heavy again. And I said, well, I need to revisit this one and give it another chance because there's all kinds of albums in the past that I've listened to and then I didn't like them and then I went back to them years later because my palate had changed. And I remember I was so disappointed with the first songs. I don't think I got past like song 2 or 3, and I put the CD back in and took it back to the record exchange store. I was so fucking pissed.
I mean, that's what I did when I had seen through my research that, this album had come out in July. I was like, let me go through it a little bit. I know it gets a lot heavier towards the end, and that's the part that really grips me the most. But, the songs at more in the beginning are not as strong, but they're not horrible either. It is a departure in sound, but I don't know, listening to it now as opposed to almost 30 years ago, it was nice to go back and revisit it. So I don't know, maybe
that's another thing. I was telling my friend that like what a bad track selection. Like if they're coming off of the album Gothic, which was super heavy, super dark, and kind of gothic as well. And then to go into this album was like they should have put those heavier songs from the back and at least led with one of those off the bat to say, hey guys, don't freak out. We're okay. You guys can kind of see the lightning storm that's behind me. We have a thunder and lightning back there.
Yep. I did see that. I was like, cool.
All right. So I'm going to go through the next one. I'm going to choose is a slam death metal band. And I fucking love this fucking album. And if you guys ever want to have so much fucking fun with heavy slamming groove at a metal show, go and check out Dying Fetus. And on the 27th of July, 1998, Dying Fetus came out with Killing on Adrenaline. And this album is considered as one of the best slam metal albums of all time. Like it's so fucking groovy that it's like a slam. Like it's not fast stuff. Super groovy.
Absolutely. Mouse Monk says, shit, slam? We never talk about slam. Oh, Dying Fetus, man. When they put out their most recent album, they showed up on our list a good couple of times. Those 3 motherfuckers, man. I just always fucking superb, fucking brutal. Every single album could be the soundtrack for a horror movie, all the way through. Especially the kill parts.
and also so consistent. This band has never put out a fucking bad album. Fucking ever. They have 2 vocalists. The bassist plays with the pick, but he's a really good bassist. Anyways, he taps and he's really good, and he does fucking vocals at the same time. So the guitarist and vocalist handles the more kind of low stuff, and the bassist handles more kind of forced raspy vocals. You get two vocalists and major fucking grooves, and the drummer is out of this world good with groove.
Yes.
I agree, Cody. That new album is fucking amazing.
Oh, it's gold. So good. And it's so hard to believe that it's just three dudes doing it. That's for damn sure.
I think Loudwire in 2018 did a list, and they were the top of the list for best slam albums of all time. This album, Killing on Adrenaline by Dying Fetus.
I agree with that 1,000%. Absolutely. And since we're kind of on these guys are not slam, but extreme metal. One of our all-time favorite, beloved death metal bands happened to put out an album in 1991. Cannibal Corpse puts out Butchered at Birth. And it was so funny because when I was looking for a graphic of this, it's just so fucking hilarious. They all have warning blurred labels all over the covers. So you actually have to push view at your own risk, basically. And I just had to chuckle. I'm like, I've seen so much worse shit, but I mean, iconic as fuck. The classics on this record are just undeniable. I mean, obviously, if I remember correctly, because I haven't listened to this record in a long, long time. I think this was a Chris Barnes one. Yeah, most definitely it was. So if you were a fan of that original sound, those low fucking almost inaudible screams with the band in their prime they were just a very, very young band at that time. Really fucking great classics came off that record. Very ferocious. It was unrelenting, and it was definitely so over the top that Jim Carrey himself became a fan. So I don't know. It's definitely one for the ages, and if you're a Cannibal fan, it should be in your collection.
I agree. I like the first two albums, first three with Chris Barnes. They're all really good. Different style. But I remember when it came out, it was so fucking like really muddy. But this is the one where I saw them on this tour, and my ex-wife cried on the way home. Yeah.
Oh, she couldn't quite take I Come Blood, huh? Or Hammer Smashed Face. Mousebox says, I grew up in the South, and when I bought this record, it had a giant black sticker wrapped around the whole jewel case. Oh, man. I mean, you really know you got something when that happens.
Well, in Saudi Arabia, they do that. Like if you go to a CD store, well, back then, when you went to a CD store in Saudi Arabia, if there was a Buddha or a woman, they would take black markers. They would open up the CD and take black markers, and they would draw all over the women and all over Buddha. Or if there was Jesus got it too. Yep. Like, so the way I knew is they had like meditation or kind of songs for meditation and CDs for like massage stuff like
sure.
that.
Uh-huh. I bet they did.
Yep, and they just took and they just took the markers and put it all over. And so if you were in the stores, like, makeup stores or lingerie stores, they had the posters, but they had like black paint where they would paint over the women's bodies. so you couldn't
Oh
see
my
it.
goodness. That's crazy.
I'll bet it's still that way. I'll bet you. You go into any of the malls there, and there's nothing to do in Saudi Arabia, so they have big ass malls with marble
Sure.
floors everywhere, and that's where everybody goes all the time.
I guarantee this album won't show up in any of them. No fucking way. But I mean, pushing the limits. And I have to agree with Mousebong's last comment there that Chris Barnes is a little scary. He's definitely not all there. And him and 6 Feet Under are fixing to put out a new record. I read something about that recently. So I don't know if we want any more of him at this point. Unless you're a 6 Feet Under fan. I don't know.
Yeah, it's already come out, and it's not as bad as the last one that was horrendous. But it's people aren't raving about it at all, and it has a couple of super cheesy songs too that are like covers. Now,
Oh, no.
I think it's, now you're messing with the son of a bitch. So it's got Chris Barnes doing that song, that cover. Now you're messing with a son of a bitch. Yep.
Oh, so he wants to join the ranks of asshole Rose, apparently. Okay, good for you. That's terrible. Mousepong says, wait, I did like that Shut the Fuck Up record that was covers. Oh, you did? Oh, well, I mean, okay. That's fine.
Yeah, Graveyard Classics. Yeah, I have that one. Yeah, that's an old one too.
Yep.
Yeah, well, he's done one on the recent album. He's done a cover. So.
Oh man. Yikes.
Yeah, the Bongster was issuing. It should have been. Wait, I did like that 6 Feet Under record that was covers, not Shut the Fuck Up. All right.
And you know what? Forgive me. I'm old. I'm decrepit. Whenever I see the SFU, I've always understood that to be shut the fuck up. My bad. Anybody else out there, if you also agree, let me know. I thought it was a playful one. I didn't think it was aggressive or anything, so don't worry. Just my old eyes.
So, just like Cavalera Conspiracy has re-recorded 3 of their previous Sepultura albums, this is an album that you have to listen to really, really closely in order to kind of hear all of the amazingness to me. Because I do not like the production on this album. It turned me off, and it's an album that I've had to revisit. But now that I have revisited it, I can see the genius in this. And I'm talking about an album that was released on the 8th of July, 1997 by Emperor. And it's called Anthems to the Welkin at Dusk. This fucking album has tasty keyboards, just like the album that we covered last week with Oculus.
Yep.
It has really, really good, tasty keyboards throughout. Very melodic, very layered, excellent black metal vocals. This is a black metal classic, but I wish they would just go record, keep the songs the same way. Don't modify the songs, just record it better. I would love for them to do that, just like Cavalera Conspiracy are doing for the early Sepultura albums.
Mousebong said pick this one was on my list too. Yabelka says, I have that T-shirt. I fucking love it. Hell yeah. I mean, who doesn't love some fucking Emperor? For real.
The more we get, the more we speak about black metal, the more Yabelka will make comments. I think Yabelka's main wheelhouse is black metal. I think the darkest, the more satanic, the better for Yabelka.
Nothing wrong with that. So with that, even though I don't have the slide for that, I'm not sure why I didn't get that in there. But another beloved and one of my personal favorites, I know it's Hoofbeast's personal favorite, as well as a lot of you out there in the Morgrat universe, Darkthrone in 2021 put out Eternal Hails, which was an utterly fantastic record. All the way through. Just brutal, beautiful. Just an amazing record. So had to definitely include that when it popped up in my research because I just fucking love Darkthrone. So
Yep,
I have nothing bad about that.
Can't go wrong with them in their doomy kind of crusty doom stage. Fucking love it. This one was a little different from Old Star. No, and there was another one right before that came out. Yeah, these are really, really good albums. Oh, Mousebong, this is one that I had on my list, but I have it written down here. But we have not called it out yet. That's an excellent one. And on my little ad for TikTok and Instagram, I used the Screaming for Vengeance song.
Honestly,
Really?
I swear, Judas Priest is that band that put out a great album just about every year. I mean, let's face it.
Assload of them.
Just workhorses, man. They were just constantly putting stuff out. And that record is no different.
Now, Mousebong, give us some more. That's a really good one. I'm glad you did because I was not going to bring it up until we got to honorable mentions. But it deserves to be up there. It's just that there's so many fucking amazing and kind of groundbreaking albums.
I agree because you got so many different flavors with Judas Priest. They were always dynamic. There was a couple times where, with like Turbo Lover, you got a different flavor there. It was very 80s. I mean, when we think of like 80s electro, it was still Priest. It was still heavy, but it was also poppy at the same time. And I just think that that's something that Rob Halford was kind of a genius with when doing writing. So, yeah, absolutely. I guarantee it. They're one of the best to ever exist. Hell yeah.
Oh, here's Yabelka.
I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad at all. I agree with you, Yabelka. I don't like 6 feet either. I mean, the guy, he was always kind of pretentious turd to me anyway. Because, I mean, when George Corpsegrinder came into the mix, man, that became what Cannibal was meant to be. That was what they were meant to be. Because you could literally understand everything that was being said. With Chris Barnes, you could not discern one thing from the next unless you had the most fucking expensive headphones and you just really, maybe you turned it low so you could understand it. Because if you tried to bring the highs up, you wouldn't understand a thing that guy said. That's for sure. Miles Bong says, I don't anymore. I liked them when I was like 10. That's okay. We'll give you a pass. All right.
Yeah, liked like their first 4 albums, and then he got into the goat stuff, that stuff a little bit too much. And then I think it was like 2012, he got into a fight with my pal Travis Ryan of Cattle Decapitation.
Wow.
And I tried finding out what that was about with Josh, and Josh said they're not allowed to talk about this. It cannot get out. So he didn't tell me about like what actually went down.
Yeah. All we need to know is that Travis Ryan won and all is good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mousebong says they are too corny, like weed, bruh. Weed, 420 death, cough, cough. Yeah, I agree. Definitely. All right, what do we got up next?
All right, we're going to go up into Canada this time. And on July 3rd, I think it was 96, Cryptopsy came out with None So Vile. So this is super, super tasty, super aggressive death metal. Straight up old school death metal. Great guitar solos throughout. Excellent, excellent fucking album. Some people say that like this is their favorite vocal performance out of any death metal artist, but I always liked this album, but I didn't think the vocals were outstanding. It's kind of like Ulcerate. Like I love Ulcerate, but the vocals are just kind of a notch under where the level of quality is for the rest of the band, to me.
Definitely.
And what a great album cover, eh? That fucking album cover's fucking awesome. I would love to tattoo that on somebody's back.
But I want to see his head on a plate. If you know, because it's like it's implied. You know, she's standing behind him, heads on, slumped over like that. I want to, if we could just put a real plate under there, that would just set it off even better. Yabelko says yes. Exactly. Which is why, I love everything about that new Deicide record. Besides, it's just a badass record, but still. Mousebong says the vocals on that one are very dog barky and vomit spewy. I think that is the charm of it. Sometimes it works in a strange way. It's like me and the pig squeal. I don't like the pig squeal, but if it really fits what's going on musically at the time, sometimes, I can ingest it for a little bit longer than usual. But excellent record. Okay. Well, this will definitely be the last one that I have. Well, I have so many. Shit. I have some honorable mentions too that we'll go through, but so on July 14th of 1992, Megadeth hits kind of a home run. Not just commercially, but just overall record. It is very, very good. Symphony of Destruction is a song that is still played today. Is it one of their greatest? No, I would not say that. Most memorable? Yes, because I don't know, at the time when he pulled in a couple of new people into the band, I thought the overall sound was better. I mean, Nick Menza on drums. Come on. Of course it's killer. We're talking about Countdown to Extinction. And I don't know. I was definitely on board with it. It was some of the little bit more innovative that they had in a while, and definitely overall sound quality that much better.
Like, I thought that Rust in Peace had excellent sound quality, and like that was super innovative. That fucking album, fucking stunning to me.
Oh yeah,
this was really good. And I remember back then the interviewers and like Headbangers Ball were talking about this album as if it was their attempt to catch up to Metallica's popularity. So it wasn't.
Bullshit.
I mean, they had High Speed Dirt is on that album, and that's a really fast one. But it's more groovy and it's more radio friendly than like Rust in Peace.
Correct. But I don't think that was Dave Mustaine's ultimate goal, though. Because, I mean, I would rather listen to Symphony of Destruction than the fucking Black Album.
Yeah,
I feel it was heavier, you know, in a lot of ways. And, you know, Dave as a singer, that was one of the most palatable times that I really enjoyed his vocals. You know, his vocals have always been kind of special. It's either really good or it's just not. The musicianship from Megadeth album to Megadeth album, you know, I mean, it's always been top-notch, great guitar playing, great drumming, all the way through. But that record really, kind of shined for them. Mousebong said, instead of a late life lesbian, I'm a late life Megadeth fan. Ha ha ha. I was converted when I saw them live in the 2010s. I love it. Fantastic. Honestly, I mean, Megadeth was just, I mean, it was definitely a bit more radio friendly because, I don't know, if they stayed in the Rust in Peace without taking some chances, this was their take some chances record, if that makes sense. And it worked for them. I don't think that was their way of trying to reach Metallica, their status, because Bob Rock didn't produce their record and did not destroy them. It just allowed them a little bit of, you know, artistic freedom, a little bit groovier. And I mean, Menza as a drummer, can't say enough about the guy. I love him. He can groove and he can shred all the way around.
That's a rest in peace as well for Nick Menza.
Right.
Yeah, like Mousebong, you said they tore the house down and you were converted by them live. We were talking about this earlier, and like for me, when I saw Megadeth, I saw them first time on the Clash of the Titans tour in '91 with Slayer, Anthrax, Reaper's favorite thrash band, Anthrax, and Alice in Chains. And no, I'm joking.
I know.
And Dave got up there and he didn't really talk to the crowd much. He was arrogant when he did talk, and he just got up and they played the songs like they were, and he didn't move around much. He just kind of stayed there. And I mean, the women fucking thought he was fucking hot with his long hair, no shirt on, and white pants, and like that was all great. But I found them live to be boring. But these days, like, I would trust Mousebong. They must be pretty fucking awesome these days.
The thing is, how drunk was he? You have to keep such things in mind when those days of seeing Megadeth. How fucked up was Dave that if he did move, he might miss a note. He might not sing correctly. He might not remember his lyrics. if he tried to move around and, show that I'm the almighty powerful Dave. How bad did he piss off his fellow band members that night to the point where they didn't want to show any emotion? You know what I mean? So, but then again, at the end of the day, Ellefson and, well, we all know he's a fucking freak, but, Marty Friedman and all them, they're professionals. So if they were pissed off, the last thing they want to do is show that to the crowd. So they're going to be professional. You know what I mean? But to see them in the 2010s, I actually wonder what that would have been like, because I didn't see them during that time. I saw them much earlier.
Yeah, I saw them on the Rust in Peace tour, and then the Countdown to Extinction tour, and then the Euthanasia tour.
Now the Euthanasian album, I don't think I really cared for that much.
Yeah, that one was much more like kind of overproduced. It still had good songs. Like, I still really enjoyed it. I listened to it quite a bit. I still listen to it these days, but it didn't have the bite. Like, when you compare it to, like, if we compare Metallica's first four, like, we could all argue about which one is the best. But to me, for Megadeth, there's no question that Rest in Peace is probably the top one.
Oh, I agree with you 1,000%.
All right, Reaper, why don't you give us a few of your honorable mentions, because I normally do that first, and it's only fair to let you do it this time, and then I'll go through and give whatever leftovers there are. If you hit them all, hit them all. It's fine with me.
Well, finally. I appreciate it. I always love hearing yours because, I mean, you have such a knack for finding some of the ones that I don't. I love that because it kind of reminds me, and I'm like, oh shit, I need to go back and listen to that record again because it's been a minute. Let's see here. Now, I don't know how many fans out there for this band that there are, but as you know, guitarist Kurt Winstead is the guitarist for a very, very killer band. It's a much different vibe. It's not extreme. But Crowbar put out the Oddfellows Rest on July 7th of 1998. I love me some gritty sludge every now and again. I'm just going to let you know. If it's sludgy and crunchy and it punches you in the face at the same time, like I said, multiple levels of heavy. This band hits you at a different level. So I definitely wanted to bring them up. Oh, awesome. Mousebone says that's a great Crowbar album. And they're not for everybody. That's just the truth of it. So, yeah, definitely had to mention them. Another one I have, of course, is Incantation, Decimate Christendom on in 2018. I believe that was July 27th as well. Another one, let's see, I think I have, yep. A doom metal band that I don't know. I love them. I loved them before I played the video game Dark. Oh, what the hell is that called? It's an anthology of horror games. And one of the songs that they had written is the actual opening track to this video game, which made me love them even more. But they're a brand of doom that's kind of like pays a bit of homage to Candlemass in a way, but obviously without all the, operatic vocals. But his cleans are great. I love the man's voice. The band is Chemist, and they had released their debut album July 7th of 2015. So those are my honorable mentions.
Good band.
Colorado. Man, just a hotbed for some amazing fucking bands come out of Denver. That's crazy.
And Chemist is it's really a band that's gaining a lot of traction these days.
Yes.
Yabelka is going to go see Deicide, Creator, and Possessed.
I want to go. Where the hell is that?
Yeah, I want to see Possessed. I haven't seen Possessed before. Apparently, Mousebong is kind of friends with the vocalist of Possessed. I think she might reveal that.
Oh, wow.
But she's got some pretty cool connection there.
Hell yeah.
Creator's great. I haven't seen Creator since 1991. I'd love to see them again. I saw them on the Coma of Souls tour. Yeah, Deicide, I want to see them again. I'm totally down to go see that.
I need to see them, period. I've never been able to. So if somebody doesn't mind, Big Bad Devil Daddy to tag along, hello, I'm available. I want to see them. And I'd love to see Creator as well. So that would be fucking sick as shit. So if you're anywhere, between like Northeast and Midwest, I'll get there.
Yep, those would be some great shows.
Mousebong says, yeah, Jeff and I are cool, I guess. Cody, definitely let me know. He says Creator is doing a U.S. tour. So we'll have to check and see what's going on with that. Fuck yeah.
All right, well, one that I mean, you can smack us around because we didn't bring it up with the pictures. Fucking Pantera, Cowboys from Hell, came out in July, and it came out on the 24th of July, 1990. This is I don't know if it's my favorite. Probably Vulgar Display of Power is my favorite, I think.
Now you're telling.
But Cowboys from Hell is definitely a favorite with Cemetery Gates. I fucking love that song. Whole fucking album is so fun. But that's an amazing one that came out in the month of July. Like, for us not actually having a picture for that one, but it's an amazing album. Here we are with it now.
Sorry, there's dominating.
So many we had to bring out that we didn't. Flotsam and Jetsam, Doomsday for the Deceiver. This is a band out of Flagstaff, Arizona, and this is probably their best album. It's not up there, like they definitely didn't belong in the top 4, not even the top maybe 8, but they're probably up there in like the top 10 or 12 thrash bands from the 80s.
Yep.
Overkill put out Under the Influence on the 5th of July, 1988. This is an excellent album. I recommend you go get this one, although my favorite is what followed in 1989, The Years of Decay. Under the Influence, really good production, really good songwriting, really good thrash out of New Jersey. Metal Church released their self-titled album on the 5th of July, 1984. Also another iconic band that you guys should check out. If you're not into some Metal Church, you're not going to go wrong with like their first 4 albums are really, really good. Death Angel, another one. This was their debut. Frolic Through the Park came out on the 5th of July, 1988. Really, really good album. You'll love it. It's a thrash album, really, really good thrash album. And the vocalist for Kerry King right now is the vocalist for that band.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do remember hearing that. Yep.
Another one of Reaper's favorite bands all time because of all the sunshine that they bring to him and they tickle his taint is Dream Theater. They came out with Images and Words.
Oh.
I'm joking. I'm teasing Reaper. They came out with Images and Words on the 7th of July, 1992. What a heavily anticipated album. And to me, it was a big, it's not even in my top 5 of their favorite albums, but it was so touted. Pull Me Under is a good song, but they were like equating these guys to like taking over for Rush. Oh, Yubelka, you maybe have to drive up to Atlanta. Overkill, always go to Atlanta. That might be close enough for you.
I thought I was so close that you weren't going to mention that, but you did. I didn't know that was one that did come out in July. I was like, son of a bitch. Hopefully it won't be mentioned, but that's okay. I do have to say, though, the drumming with the original drummer there, that's how much I can't stand him. I can't remember his fucking name. I have to say his drumming. Yeah, I have to say the drumming on that record was very stellar. I did enjoy what he did there, and I just can't get with it. I just can't get with it. I appreciate what they did, though.
Oh boy, I continue on. Another classic old school death metal band out of Finland, and I'm talking about Amorphous, Tales from the Thousand Lakes. Excellent album. Their next album is also outstanding. Old school death metal. One of the best vocalists. Like, now their albums are still really good. Like the last 4 that they put out are all outstanding. But he kind of split his death growls with the clean singing. Really good songwriting, really good groove, very memorable. Mortician came out with their debut album, Packed Up for Barbecue. What a fucking dark fucking masterpiece of an album. That came out on the 12th of July, 1996. Maybe this wasn't that's not their debut, because they were out before that. Another really good thrash band that came out at the end of thrash is Violence, and this is a really good album. If you can find this one on CD, grab it. I have it on CD. Oppressing the Masses, 13 July 1990, right towards the end of thrash as it was winding down, and it was about a month before Metallica killed thrash. Then we go to another excellent debut album. Immolation came out with Dawn of Possession on the 19th of July, 1991. I've seen Immolation. The lead vocalist is excellent, and he is so nice. His ass is probably like halfway down his hamstring toward his knee. His hair is down, not his ass. His hair is down about halfway down where his hamstring and his knees meet. Good gosh, I hadn't even been drinking. But he's the nicest guy. He'll come out and talk to everybody. He's like one of the biggest OGs for old school death metal, and he's so humble and so nice. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction.
I wasn't going to mention that either.
Not necessarily metal all the way, but they definitely have like some angst-driven kind of punk attitude with some heavy rock kind of hair metal, but hair metal with a little bit more teeth. That came out on the 21st of July, 1987. I fucking love that album. I'll listen to it all day long. I would rather listen to that than the Black Album.
Yes, absolutely.
If you want to get into some tech death metal, then I would recommend Fallujah. Fallujah came out with The Flesh Prevails on the 22nd of July, 2014. These guys are really good vocals, really good solos, and the melodic licks that the guitarist throws in are outstanding. They're really, really fucking good. And let's see, what else? We didn't mention Metallica's Kill 'Em All came out on the 25th of July, 1983. Don't need to say anything else about that. Black
Nope.
Sabbath, Sabotage. What the hell was Bill Ward thinking of for that photo shoot? He looks
You have-
like Humpty Dumpty meets Santa Claus with his leggings.
Okay, so that was actually nothing new for him because the whole band really started getting crazy with their outfits back in '71. If you check out when they played the California Jam, you will see them in platform boots. Ozzy just could never keep his shirt on for very long. So, but Bill was always shirtless and in spandex for every gig at that point. When they really started to get big, that's just what he did. So, but unfortunately, that album cover didn't do him any favors.
JD, what was the album that you listened to in weight training class? And Mouse Bong is pretty. It is pretty funny that yes, I have brought up a lot of thrash. I'm just not really into like the newer thrash so much, but
I think
back then,
I think JD was talking about Overkill.
Oh, maybe Overkill. Yeah, I listened to thrash like all the way up to about 91, 92. Liked it a lot.
One album that you left off the list, and I know they're not exactly thrash, but I mean they were a bit heavy for their times. Back in, I believe it was 1982, Suicidal Tendencies put out their first record in July. So that's another one. I just came back to my brain.
That's an excellent one. Oh, there we go, Mouse Bong. Romeo looking ass too. Yeah,
honestly, I mean, look at Ozzy. Look at the fucking robe that he was in. What the fuck was that? Was he the Continental? Tony just looked out of place every time. You just couldn't put an outfit on Tony. Tony was too cool for that. Now, Geezer, boy, did he have some fucking, what was that Disney film? With Jafar and all those guys, Genie of the Lamp. He always looked like he walked out of, ancient Samaria or something with his crazy outfits.
Boy, Mouse Bong really has some opinions about Bill Ward. Says he looks like he was doing ballet and they called him into the room for a photo real quick. Old Shakespeare looking ass, Romeo looking ass. Boy.
Yeah.
Went off on Bill Ward.
And then turns around and says Ozzy's fit is sick on that cover. I mean, come on, they were Black fucking Sabbath. They shouldn't be donned in these, like, I don't know, we're of royalty kind of shit. I don't know. Because, I mean, when you see them performing the album for Paranoid in France, it's one of the most famous live concerts ever shot back in those days of Black Sabbath. And they're just dirty guys. Ozzy's in a all jean outfit. He don't even have a shirt underneath his little jean jacket, some ratty ass pants. It looked like his hair ain't been washed in 50 years. Bill, looked like, he was just wearing traditional 70s wear at that point with his Converse, which is why I, for about the first 15 years of my drumming career, I always wore Converse to play. And then, Geezer looked pretty normal, and Tony was like, Saturday Night Fever without the fever. So for them to be on that cover looking like that, I was just like, come on, you guys, what were you thinking? Well, I mean, they were fucked up, so it's okay. Cody says it's the English royalty look. Exactly right. Mousebong says Ozzy looks very Jardalski's Holy Mountain vibes. I could see that. Yep, I could see that. Oh no, Yabelka says I hate long driving.
I think Mousebong's in the same boat as you. She doesn't like long drives either. Fear. So my last honorable mention is Fear Factory's album Obsolete. Came out on the 28th of July in 1998. To me, it's a very, very good album.
I mean, absolutely it is. Between Burton's growls, not his clean singing, obviously, because I could never stand that. I love the brutality of his voice. Raymond Herrera, Dino, his riffs were so precise, so tight. I mean, I loved them. I found them through Ozfest. That's how I figured out about Fear Factory. From the first time I saw them in a live situation, didn't even hear a studio recording. Fear Factory back in those days, man. Love it. I'll always get down with that. Mousebong says I'm a passenger princess. Oh shit! And Yabelka says, "Lucky girl." I feel it. Yeah, it's true. Mousebong says that's cool that you found them from a fest. I love when that happens. That was one thing that was super, super cool about Ozfest in the early days, because they would always pick some bands for that second stage that would be playing during the day before the main stage acts would go on, sometimes at the same time. So you could literally go from main stage to side stage back and forth. But Fear Factory actually ended up on the main stage at the very, beginning of the day. And I was like, this is some pretty cool shit. It was very different. And, you saw a million fucking drummers in the crowd looking at Raymond going, is he really doing that? Nobody believed it. Remember, I told that story about how his drum tech finally took a video of his feet going because people thought that it was a computer doing his shit. Nah, literally, that was fucking Raymond. So, excellent choice. So that is our synopsis of some of the best metal albums to come out in July. I love when we do these shows, because sometimes it's like, I forgot about that record, or I haven't listened to that record in a long time. So it's as much informative for us as it is for you. A lot of the times we see stuff, pop up, and it's like, yeah, we know those albums because we fucking love them all the time. But it's like there are other ones where it's just kind of nice to hear, some of the ones that you guys bring up as well. Mousebong says, I discovered Mortuary Drape that way at a death fest. Old Italian black metal. It was my first time hearing them, and I was right against the stage. Very fun. Oh, that had to be really cool. That's awesome. What the fuck? Cody says, since July 3rd, I have driven 2,000 miles in my work transit. Wow. Dude, that's insane. That is insane.
Well, hopefully you get to listen to metal the whole way.
Right. As a matter of fact, he's texted me before, like, listening to so and so, and I'm like, yeah, that'll get you through the daily grind. Mousebong says, yeah, I like these shows for that too. It's a great reminder. It is. It really is. So, and we appreciate you guys picking us for your Monday night entertainment. And we have more programming this week. You're going to have to stay tuned because this weekend is a little thing that we want to call the Nashville Horror Con going on in Nashville this Saturday and Sunday. Myself and Cody the Defiler will be there with all of our cool merch. You can get a lot of signed stuff. You can come hang out with us, get pictures, the whole 9 fucking yards. Of course, there's going to be horror icons there, and you'll be paying those prices. But we're the cheapest dates in the house. So if you want to come by and say hi, please do. There is a chance that I will go live from there because Mousebong is asking if I can fit it in, because I have to do a horror panel in the middle of the afternoon. But I think we'll try and go live from the Reapers Underground page for that. So if you are hooked in to my Reapers Underground page, you'll definitely catch us live from the con. But you can definitely expect that this Wednesday there is going to be a Reapers Underground. And I have a stonerific metal band on Black Doomba Records. It's kind of nice to finally get a band back into the interview status because I've done so much horror because there's been so many films coming out. So definitely tune in for that. If you're a stoner metal fan, you'll definitely love these guys. They are fuzzerific. But there will also be a goddamn program this Saturday night, so definitely stay peeled for that, because after the con, everything goes dark and as blasphemous as we can possibly go. Don't you worry about that, because I'm telling you, we got a hell of a show coming up for you Saturday night, so stay tuned for that as well. Thank you, Morgrot Universe, for, like I said, showing up on a Monday night like this, and you guys keep doing it, and we love you. The Addicts, you are fantastic. So as you're trying to figure out what your playlist for Tuesday, for your commute or starting your day, that you want to, add some favorites to, just remember when you're picking them, stay heavy.